Got to go to work and it's going to be another day. It's a really, really cold morning. It's very cold this morning. There's really not many cars anywhere. As you can see, there's no cars on the road.
Anxiety and isolation are now part of the daily routine at the epicentre of the outbreak.
People just stay at home. They've put some rubbish bins to stop the cars going in and out.
Wuhan, a city of 11 million, has been in lockdown for the past week.
The roads are pretty empty. Just our car, really.
Australian Rui Severino works as a horse trainer, and arriving at the stables every day, his temperature is checked for signs of the virus.
Hey, everybody gets checked. But before the training centre, we have to go into this ultraviolet room.
And along with the other workers, he's disinfected in a special room with UV light.
In the training centre, we don't have many issues. We haven't had any case, and everyone follow the rules really strictly. But I wouldn't say we're not scared. Everybody's scared, you know. Who's not scared? So
Rui speaks Mandarin.
I just asked my staff if he's scared. He said, "Who's not scared? Everybody's scared."
There are now cases in at least 16 countries, including Australia. And this week, experts discovered the virus is more contagious than first thought. There's no cure or vaccine.
We are now sure that there is possibility that people can transmit this virus before they become symptomatic. So this is quite a change in what we understand about the virus.
Fear of the coronavirus has spread more quickly than the disease itself. On the streets of Sydney, protective masks have become a common sight. At Eastwood in Sydney's north, local businesses are handing them out for free. That's despite federal health advice that they're not necessary for the general public.
We believe that's a sensible and a reasonable thing to do. Maybe not as recommended by the health expert, but then, well, it's better than nothing.
Okay.
Sydney dad ABDO DIRANI is playing it safe. His two daughters were due back in school this week, but he's decided to keep them at home for 14 days.
Go girls, come on. Look, education's important, but you don't want them to face potentially catching a virus that's, as far as we know, is deadly.
ABDO's extended family have joined them.
For us as parents, you think, well, there's mixed messaging already. It's confusing. How dangerous is this virus? How do you identify a person with the virus? Is a mask sufficient to keep our kids safe?
So we just put them when we go out in public places, like the park, shopping centres.
People who've been in contact with confirmed cases or who've been to Hubei province must quarantine themselves in their home for 14 days.
I think a harder line is warranted in these circumstances. Those students should be asked or forced to be quarantined for that period of time that the virus is potentially there but not evident in symptoms.
A compulsory quarantine?
Yeah, absolutely.
Earlier this week, some schools went beyond the official health advice and discouraged students who've been anywhere in China from attending classes. That prompted this message from the Federal Education Minister.
Unless you've been in direct contact with someone who has the virus or is showing symptoms, you're fine to go to school or go to a childcare centre.
At the same time, some state governments also advised students who'd visited affected areas of China to stay away. By late Wednesday, the Commonwealth Chief Medical Officer updated the advice.
Return travellers who have been in the Hubei province of China must also be isolated in their home for 14 days.
All state and territory education ministers have been advised that this advice has changed.
Some families returning from China made their own plans to self-quarantine before the federal health authorities updated their advice. One mother told 7:30 that she and her teenage son had been to Wuhan and that as soon as they came back to Australia, they locked themselves in their Sydney home.
The government is making a decision here to get Australians out of a very difficult position.
The federal government is now organising the evacuation of up to 600 Australians stranded in Wuhan. They'll be taken to Christmas Island and held in quarantine.
People who have come from China, from this province, will be restricted to the isolation area, and there is a decision that's made under the Biosecurity Act to declare that zone.
Hey everyone, my name is Daniel. I'm from Sydney.
Earlier this week, 7:30 spoke to young Australian Daniel O. Young, who's hoping to evacuate from Wuhan. He's pleased there might be an escape, but wants more detail.
I am comfortable being quarantined, but there is a line between quarantining me and taking away my freedom and my rights. You know, I would like to be ensured, and I think everyone would like to be ensured that we'll be arriving in Christmas Island as Australians, being cared for as patients.
It's also come as a surprise to Daniel's mum that the Australians will have to pay at least $1,000 to evacuate.
It's insane. It's not caring at all.
And Helen Hong also wants to know whether the mostly Chinese Australian evacuees will have the freedom to contact their families.
They are not criminals, right? They are just normal citizens. And if I can't see my son every day, every single day for the next 14 days, I'll be so anxious.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.